The enemy's job is to make you believe what you see instead of believe what God says. Do you believe what you see, or do you believe what God says? The enemy's job is to get you to focus on specific terms and argue and debate. See, you reply on the level of your awareness. I'm a part of this, there's a lot of Facebook groups. There's one, it's called San Antonio Black Group. And black folks, especially, but all people, we reply on the level of our awareness. You can tell, look at some of the comments and some of the videos that I share. Yesterday was Easter. Yesterday was, for some people, Resurrection Day. Yesterday, for me, was just another day. People reply on the level of their awareness. Words are triggers. Words expose worlds. I'm going to tell you the secret to the universe today. I'm going to tell you the secret to success. Even though most people are not going to get it, because it's been in your face the whole time. We live in a world of abundance. You can believe it or not believe it. Because you live on the level of your awareness. You don't see what exists or what's real. You see what you are. You don't get what you want. You don't get what you pray for. You don't get what you ask. You don't get nothing but what you are. So while I'm talking, your brain is rejecting. Your brain is searching for how to reply. Your brain is interpreting. I'm talking. Your brain is interpreting. So your brain is not hearing what I'm saying. Your brain is reconstructing what I'm saying to match your interpretation. See, the reticular activating system changes the molecular structure of reality, the electrical magnetic frequencies that's coming from my vocal cords. You don't hear with your ears, you hear with your reticular activating system. So in this specific group of black folks, most, not all, reticular activating system is programmed for scarcity. Negroes are afraid. They are afraid because they're coming from a religious perspective. They're afraid because they're coming from the Willie Lynch. They're afraid because they're coming from the psychological effects of slavery. They're afraid because they're coming from a very narrow view. I know because I've been there too. Even where I'm at right now, it's still not all-knowing, all-power, all-present, all-simple, all-loving. It's still a departmentalization. So I'm aware, though, that I see the world with a limited worldview. So my job is to expand my own worldview. Because the world source is abundant. So we are unlimited beings having a limited experience. Again, black folks, primarily, check out. Because they're programmed that God is limited. So they don't have the ability to access unlimited. So when I say a word like Jesus, Negroes are triggered. If I say Buddha, if I say Allah, if I say, Hare Krishna, if I say the Kabbalah, if I say Grammatus, if I say pluralism, if I say Sufism, because the Negro believes he understands the term that I am using. The Negro very seldomly asks. The Negro very seldomly engages in a conversation. The Negro believes. The Negro lives in a box that's programmed by the dominant culture. And since the average, now I know you ain't average, otherwise you're disconnected already. So once you rise above average, then you start to challenge the nature of your reality. When your brain says respond, when your brain says react. When your brain says division, when your brain says attack, when your brain says hate, when your brain says divide, when the brain says fear, when the brain says doubt, when the brain says we don't believe, then what you do is you seek to overstand. The high vibration is a vibration of overstanding. Where is this dude coming from? So if the Negro says, you know, Jesus, who and what does that mean to him? I know what it means to me. What it means to him. The Negro doesn't ask the question. The Negro fights to protect his reality. The average, but Negro, you ain't average. Now, the other Negroes that's average, they attack. Look at the comments. Look at the comments. Notice. Don't respond. High vibrational Negroes like me, we don't respond. Why? Why would you place your energy? Why would you respond? Remember, whatever you react to, you enact. Why would you join in somebody else's circus? Why would you be a peasant in somebody else's play when you can be the creator of your own? I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. You know what I'm saying? Why would you be a part? Why would you be an NPC? Why would you be a non-player character in somebody else's play? Look at Facebook. Look at Instagram. Look at TikTok. Look at social media. It's a circus. Notice how people extrapolate energy. So I'm going to post this video. This video is going to generate some response. That means that when you respond, look at the word, respond, spawn. You're sponding, bonding. You're going to rebond. Now you should bond to your purpose, your destiny, and your destiny. You should be living your life. You should be pursuing your dream. You should be so immersed in your own reality that you have no time for other people's mentality. You should be. But are you on the level where there is no devil? I mean, not you personally, but people get up. See, when you get to this level of awareness, you're happy. Because you know that the reality that you see doesn't apply to me. See, the reality that I see does not apply to me. What does that mean? That means if your heart's not in it, you can't win it. But what does that mean? See, you should be asking for me, not you personally. People you know. But the average, you ain't average. But the average, thankfully, you ain't average. But the average, I keep it on, we can't see the forest because it's made up of trees. See, the universe is abundance. So when you have an abundant mentality, all you see is abundance. But when you have a scarcity mentality, all you see is fight, flight, freeze, fawn. You fold over like a baby deer. Not you personally. People you know. So when you over-understand the game is I got to steal your chi. I got to steal your power. I got to steal your attention. The game, Negro, is about attention. That's the game. You should be generating, you should be operating, and you should be directing your own chi. You should not be folding up like a cheap suit to Negroes like me. There's no way in God's green earth you should be responding to any frequency, wave, verb, or vibration unless it matches you. So you live on the level of your devil. You live on the level of your devil. Because the word devil is the word live. D-E-V-I-L is L-I-V-E-D. Devil, live. So I tell where you live based on the devil that you show. That's why I like doing these shows. That's why I like posting stuff on Facebook groups like San Antonio Black, whatever. Why? Demons come out. You get to see Negroes. They live on a certain frequency range. They got to, that frequency inside of them, they got to latch out. They got to respond. They got to place their energy into me. So I feed off other people's frequency. That's how I'm able to empower my own selves. Now, let me make sure you understand what I just said. Because again, that's the trigger. Notice the words that I'm using. Words create worlds. You create your world with your words. You create your world with your words. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You have the ability to bring every thought into captivity. But if you give away your energy by believing that somebody has more power over you than you do, Negro, they do. I don't believe that. See, I'm all knowing, all power, all present, all simple, all loving, all abundance, all resourceful, because that's source code. So the codes. Now, most Negroes listen to respond. Most Negroes listen to debate. Most Negroes listen to argue. Anytime you listen to anybody, anytime you hear anything, that person is sharing with you their level of awareness. Negro, it ain't yours. What's up, Brother Mwanga? Brother Mwanga know what I'm talking about. So when I hear somebody talking about Jesus, I know their level of awareness. If I hear somebody talking about Allah, I know their level of awareness. If I hear somebody talking about the Kabbalah, I know their level of awareness. If I hear somebody talking about Sufism, perennialism, Gnosticism, if I hear somebody who's standing on their square, if I hear somebody talking about Egyptology, that is an individual who's sharing with you their level of awareness. Negro, it ain't yours. Why would you argue? Why would you debate? Why would you be angry if you hear somebody who's an entry level, basic Hebrew 6:1 Negro? Negro, remember when you used to be one? Everybody starts off in elementary school, preschool. So if you are a Negro with a spiritual, psychological assessment of your own conscious energy, space. So my new program, Space, is so you can take your own spiritual, psychological assessment of your own conscious energy. Poof. See, the average Negro, thankfully you're an average. Right, Brother Mwanga? Brother Mwanga knows what I'm talking about. But the average Negro does not have the ability to assess his own spiritual and psychological. You know the three problems that's going on in the world today? Number one problem on earth, lack of a proper ID. I could end the show right there, bro. The average Negro, but you ain't average, but the average Negro, they has no ID. He's not the vibrational equivalent of source code on earth. He a peasant. That Negro is still a slave. He's a mental mother slave. You can tell by the way that the Negro responds. The Negro exposes himself every time he's opening his mouth. Negro, if you never open your mouth, nobody knows how stupid you are. Not you personally, people you know. So when I see these fake book groups, the average Negro in that group is dumb as a box of Skittles. Not you. Come on, other Negroes. So once you see the Negro's reality, you see the devil. You see how that Negro lives. The word devil simply means lived life experiences. You have an accumulation of life experiences. That's how it means. So some people have a small life experiences. Some people have larger life experiences. But we all have life experiences. We all have an education. We all live on the level of our education. Some of you Negroes who graduated from some historically black college, you are educated. Ooh, you're a bad man. You're a bad woman. So you got 1 degree of 360 degrees of gnosis. And now you the man. Assalamu alaikum, salam, my brother. Now, today's message, like all messages, is an opportunity for you to jump, invest, and expand yourself. Space is the final frontier. So they say. So I created a space program. All I do is create conscious expansion programs. Space, spiritual and psychological. SP, assessment. A, of your consciousness. C, and energy. That's the entity that's controlling you. That's all we're doing. Expanding your awareness by taking an assessment of your spirituality and your psychology. Because the number one issue is a lack of spirituality. The number two issue is a lack of psychology, mental health. We got an identity problem, which is inside the Abacon, which is sort of the Algebelon community. We have a lack of mental health, lack of identity, lack of proper mental health. And then we have a lack of awareness of the consciousness. That's called artificial versus authentic. Most Algebelons are not authentic. So when you are authentic, you should be pissing people off. Because if you're showing up as yourself, 50% of people are going to gravitate you. The other 50% of the people are going to hate you. You should be polarizing. So if you're not polarizing, if you make statements and everybody agree with your statements are vanilla. Your statements are watered down. Because you should have a certain level of awareness based upon your own personal experience, based upon your level of gnosis, and based upon the innate attributes and characteristics that was placed inside of you by source code. Those are called gifts. See, your gifts will make room for you. Your gifts will make room for you. Your gifts will make room for you and take you before kings. Your gifts. Not you. Your gifts. So the first thing is to attach with your gifts. That's your identity. That's why I do identity reports. Look at the word space. Spiritual and psychological assessment of the conscious energy. Space. Spiritual, psychological assessment of conscious energy. Space. Spiritual, psychological assessment of conscious energy. Space. Spiritual, psychological assessment of your own conscious energy, not somebody else's. When you examine your own space, when you examine your own aura, when you examine your own chi, when you examine your own prana, then you take back your energy. You see how you've been placing your energy into other people's pockets. So you putting the keys to your happiness into some reverend doctor's or bishop pocket. That's why you're angry. That's why you're on social media responding to other people's chi instead of activating your own chi. Not you personally, but you know. So you notice people who have no purpose, no destiny, no dear, they spend all their time online interjecting, trying to tear down somebody else who's actually shining and actually grinding. Because if you have no shine of your own, you have to go out and try to steal somebody else's shine. So your job is to establish your own chi, your own spirituality, your own psychology, your own ether, your own aura, your own consciousness, your own inner God, your own inner chi, your own entity. Show up, boo-boo. Show up, boo-boo. Show up, boo-boo. Show up as a useful individual expression of God on earth. You have purpose. You have a destiny. You have products. You have services. You have information. You're a royal priest. You're a holy nation. You're a joint heir. When I've seen you, I've seen source. So once you tap into your true, authentic Negro, you stop being artificial. So you stop responding to other people. You become a light. You become a light shining on a hill. Now you are sending out frequency. You don't need frequency. You become so powerful, you got extra energy. And so you send it out to other frequencies. Now you become the lender instead of the borrower. You become the lender instead of the borrower. That's the space program. So pick up the new space program. Available at the website. You know what to do. Go to masterteacher30.com. Click on the link. The space program, I think, is at $199. Again, pick up the Dear Canary report. The space program combines 5 of my programs that identify number one problem on the planet. That is a lack of a proper ID. Second problem is a lack of proper mental health. third problem is a lack of proper authentication. Not being your authentic self, copying off of somebody else. Not being your authentic self, copying off of somebody else. Nigga, well, you got to copy off somebody else. God made you. You're an individual expression. You have your own ID. You have your own identification. So your job is to show up as, again, an individual expression of God on earth. When you do that, guess what happens? No matter what somebody say, they can't pull you. They can't get you to respond. The whole purpose of life is to see if I can get you to be somebody else. How? By taking your energy, your time, and your attention and getting you to respond. Getting you to put your energy into somebody. Take the keys out your pocket and put the keys to your happiness in somebody else's pocket. That's the game. The whole game of life is I got to get you to respond. I got to get you to react. I got to get you to return to an act, to a drama, to a play. Instead of you writing, instead of you generating, instead of you operating, instead of you directing your own, instead of you being God, I got to get you to be my B-I-T-C-H. And if I can get you to be my B-I-T-C-H, nigga, you can carry my luggage. You can work the lights behind the stage of my play. That's the game. Right now, most Negroes are running the lights behind the scenes of some reverend, doctor, or bishop's play, when they should be creating their own space. Negro, wake up and create your own space by mastering your spirit, by mastering your psychology, by taking your assessment of your own consciousness and expanding your own chi, your own entity, your own energy. Negro, what the? This ain't no New Believer show. Holler at your boy. Wake up.